Hello, Los Angeles. Hello, Major League Soccer fans. Hello, lovers of the beautiful game. And of course, hello to the millions
and millions.
This is Defenders of the Bank, the 247th edition. The tone of today's episode might sound a bit different than the past several episodes. Hey, it was bound to happen at some point, but that certainly doesn't mean we can't mildly be blue about LAFC's first regular season loss since October 9th of 2022. It happens. But today, we will exercise those NorCal demons together. Tonight, I am the glum, despondent, and melancholy platinum-haired flamingo. My name is Christian Philly Philemon. And joining me, a mere 6 hours from being from shipping off to Boston, whoa, the mouth of the South Bay, La Bufanda himself, Jean-Ramon Lebert, otherwise known as
The Scarf. What's good? Black and Gold Nation, Defenders Nation. Hello, hello. Yes, we are talking about a loss for the first time this season in Major League Soccer play. Obviously, we dropped the second leg to Alajuelense, but this is our first Major League Soccer loss at home. We were looking to become only the third team in MLS history to go 10 matches unbeaten or more on the road. That was not meant to be in a place that has become, I don't know if this is a place that's become a house of horrors, but the Bay Area in general for the last 5 now have been unkind to the black and gold. Hopefully we're not going to make it 6 in just a couple of days. More on that in a minute. But Philly, I am here in front of the world famous Scarf Wall in beautiful Lawndale, California. You are not, my friend, at world famous Philomonster Studios. We'll talk about where you are exactly right now. But my friend, you and Panda got to go to the game. What was it like at Levi's Stadium?
So it was pretty cool, man. The drive from where we are, we're in some town called Piedra, California. I don't know, a half hour or so from Fresno. We're way up on a hill. Way up on a hill. Like, you know when you're driving in the countryside and you always see that one house that's lit up where everything else is pitch black? We're that house. That's definitely this house. Around us is literally nothing. I posted a photo and a video on Defenders and on Facebook to kind of give you an idea of this little house on the prairie that I'm in. And during the daytime, it is beautiful. But in the evening, I hear cows, I hear frogs, I hear crickets, I hear all kinds of things that could potentially eat me. Now, I'm not saying frogs can eat me, but they can bite, and they certainly can have conversations. But it was a nice 3-hour drive to get to Santa Clara, Scarf. And throughout that drive, Panda and I were fretting over where to park. We wanted to meet up at the tailgate with all the members of the 3252, but the timing wouldn't allow us to do so. And I don't know if this is a popular hack or if we just got lucky. So the parking, we were finding like $100 to park at Levi's Stadium, which obviously is atrocious. What I didn't realize, though, is that if you park at the convention center across the street, it's free. And for reasons unbeknownst to me, nobody parked there. There were literally hundreds of empty spots. Panda and I parked in there. We were looking around for the signs. We went on the phones to read the reviews, the policies, the this and that. No issues. Nice. And then, the game concluded and we ran up to the parking lot, and it just so happens that a bunch of kids are coming in on their high school prom. So we're thinking, we might actually get away with this. And lo and behold, we did. We saved $100, which we then gave to the concession stands at Levi's Stadium. But it was cool, man. About 45,000 or so were on hand. The temperature kept changing on several occasions, as it does. But we saw a lot of familiar faces of the black and gold there. And it was really cool being with everybody. Originally, we had tickets in 123. But then we were like, we don't know anybody around here. We're awfully close to the supporter section of Santa. Heck with it. Let's go find everybody in the 400s. So we climbed up and we hung out. I literally stood on the last row, the 28th row in section 402. If you go to the LAFC Instagram page and you see that photo with everybody up in the stands, go to the second photo all the way to the back in the last row. You'll see one tiny little picture of me by myself. It just so happened when Panda went to the concession stands or the bathroom, that's when they shot the photo. Despite the fact that it was a block kind of a loss, it was a good time, and I'm glad we went there. It was certainly fun. But obviously it would have been a lot more fun if we got the dub.
Dude, I mean, you're in the house on the hill though. You got pretty decent internet, I think, so far. This is going well. You gotta why don't you move your head to the left or the right real quick so people can see that beautiful tree? There it is. There's a tree behind you on the wall. That's kind of fun looking.
Beats the heck out of the moth mausoleum that I was behind just the other day. Yeah, I'm in a bedroom, not in an ideal setting, Scarf. Not in an ideal setting, in a one-horse town. Me, the city kid, in a one-horse town. Cue in your Toby Keith song.
Hey, look, man, I'm just glad you got to and from safely a 3-hour tour, both there and back. Quite the drive, my friend.
Quite the drive indeed, but you're getting ready to ship off to Boston.
Getting ready, man. I got to be at my school at 5:30 in the morning. We get the kids on the bus, get them all over to the airport, and we'll be taking off for Boston at about 8 a.m. It's wrangling about 40 middle schoolers on our way to Boston is going to be a lot of fun. Look, I've made this trip now. God, I think it's half a dozen times with our middle schoolers. Usually it's with our 5th grade, but this year it's with our 6th grade because COVID wiped out their trip. It's going to be a lot of fun, man. We get to do the Tea Party Museum, the Freedom Trail. We get to go see a lot of really famous people's grave sites, and then, learn a whole bunch of cool stuff. It's, again, I am incredibly blessed, incredibly lucky to be able to work at a school that affords these cool opportunities, man. I am certainly bummed, obviously, that I couldn't be up there at Levi's, or that I won't be able to be there on Tuesday at Cardinal Stadium in beautiful Seaside, California. But either way, happy to do this. Not so happy to get rolling with the rest of our episode. We've got this day in LAFC history. Not many news and notes, to be perfectly honest, and then we'll get into the first loss of the season. I do enjoy this day in LAFC history, though, Philly, because it predates our first match by just about 2 years. May 6th, 2016, the LA City Council approves a stadium to be built on the old LA Sports Arena site. Obviously, that would become First Bank of California Stadium and now BMO Stadium. So what an incredible day today was, going on 7 years ago now, when they said, yep, this is where the House of the Black and Gold, the Cathedral of LAFC, will be built. That's our This Day in LAFC history. News and notes. All right, let's get right into the Angel City Minute. They've got a match tomorrow against the KC Current. That's at BMO. That'll be fun.
Be driving to go see that. 3 more hours in a car. And, dude, I got to tell you, just driving a mere 3 hours to get to Santa Clara from Piedra, California, all I kept thinking to myself is, how in the hell did Scarf drive from Lawndale to Vancouver? Like, I cannot stand being in a car for more than a couple of hours. I hate it. Yet you managed to basically drive 27 hours. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how anybody does it. I mean, you must have been a truck driver in a previous life. God bless you for being able to do something like that. I don't have the wherewithal for it. The mere thought of 3 hours makes my stomach want to curl up and blah.
It's funny you say that. My father's father, who I never knew, he passed when my dad was, I think, an older teenager. I think he was 18 or 19. Georges Lebert from Quebec, up in that area in Canada. That's my grandfather was indeed a truck driver. So I think that's where I get it from. I got something of my my grandfather on my dad's side, something of his genes, I guess, with being able to sit and drive and everything else. I don't know a whole ton about my grandpa George, but I know he apparently served in the military and maybe even won a Purple Heart. That's what I was told.
Was he a Mountie?
He was not a Royal Canadian Mounted Policeman. No, I believe he served in the U.S. military, but from Canada. And really, I never got to know him. My dad, I don't know how well my dad knew his father. My dad was in and out of a couple different living situations, but that's my grandpa, Georges Lebert. So that being said, we'll get into let's do our quick check on LAFC 2. They play Wednesday, May 10th against St. Louis City 2. That is also going to be at home. So, oh man, I'm missing 4 matches. This is rough. I'm missing 4 matches while I'm away and doing all this stuff. Missed today's match. I'm going to be missing the Monterey Bay match. I'm going to be missing the Angel City match. And I'm going to be missing Wednesday, May 10th. Everybody, do me a favor out there. If you're also an Angel City supporter, will you just tell everybody to breathe for a little bit? I know we had to move your match one day to what is it, June 5th instead of June 4th, right? There was a lot of consternation among the Angel City supporters. We're playing in the CONCACAF Champions League final, guys. I am as big of an Angel City supporter as there possibly can be, but let's play the long game here. Take a deep breath. Everything will be fine. We will come and support you on the 5th, right after we win the Champions League on the 4th. And we will all, as they say in Pulp Fiction, be happy little Fonzies. Everything will be great. Everything is good.
I mean, I agree. And look, I know there's supporters on the other side of the fence when it comes to MLS, and we're all in the ACFC party together. This isn't LAFC's fault. CONCACAF Champions League had this scheduled. It was what it was. If anything, look at what NWSL had. And I mean, it's not our fault. Obviously, this is the biggest game of our club's career. Yeah, we had to move your game. Apologies for it. We're still going to be out there. We have nothing but love for Angel City. But, I mean, if it starts to get too ugly, well, then I got a simple solution. 370 million buys you your own stadium. And then you don't have that problem anymore. Then we could all move along and be happy. But yes, like Scarf said, we're here to support the girls through thick and thin. But enough of the rhetoric about this and that and this and who. If the roles were reversed, I guarantee you LAFC would have no problem enabling Angel City to play in their biggest game in club history over a regular season game that we would have. So, I mean, therein lies my piece. I may not make too many friends doing it, but look, again, blame it on CONCACAF and the powers that be. Allow us to win our biggest game in club history on that day. Thank you very much.
Hey, and I'm okay with them blaming LAFC because we had to win to be able to cause this scheduling conflict. If we just keep winning, I guess we're going to keep creating problems like this. I'm okay with that as an LAFC supporter. I get it. But again, you and I, Philly, we will be right there on June 5th at the Angel City match, supporting them just as wholeheartedly as we do our black and gold.
Nothing but love for them. Hell, we're driving another 3 hours like on vacation to go down and see Angel City.
Absolutely.
So I can't wait. And we'll be at that game on Monday as well. So cheers.
Yeah, man. You mentioned it's holds 68,500, but they got 45,000 in there for a regular season tilt against LAFC. Look, I don't know, and you can let me know your thoughts on this too, Philly. I don't know how many of the black and gold faithful really feel like San Jose is a rival. I know they're both in California, and I know San Jose loves to think that we are rivals. I mean, we heard it loud and clear on the broadcast, the beat LA chants. I get it, right? They also they had a little trouble with the Los Angeles Lakers today, that one other team from the Bay Area, but this is an LAFC podcast. I get it, right? For them, we're a huge match on their schedule. And look, I'm not just saying this because we lost, but they're not a big match on our schedule. It's not a date that we circle on one of our home venue dates. I mean, look, I'm looking when the Sounders come into town. I'm looking when Portland comes into town. I'm certainly looking if we get any of those really fun teams to play over in the East. And of course, we circle it every time Carson has to enter actual Los Angeles. But I don't know that San Jose is one of those matches that we circle as a home date. I definitely, though, Philly, now will be circling them because it's the 5th straight time we've lost to them as an away date.
I mean, we've lost to them actually 4 out of the last 6. It's been rather lopsided. We split the series with them last year. The last time we played them, we lost 2-1. And we jokingly referred to them as the Smurfs. And we jokingly referred to PayPal Park as back then Bank of California North. But in reality, the Bay Area hasn't been too friendly and too kind for us. And like you said, San Jose rose to the occasion. But as the defending champions, you're going to have a bullseye on your back regardless of where you go. For San Jose, it was their MLS Cup to a certain extent. I mean, they have been playing well under Luchi Gonzalez this season. They're not a bad team. This is their 5th win of the season. They continue to win. successfully in their neck of the woods. They have yet to win an away game. Once they start doing that, then we can have them in the conversation as contenders within the West Coast. But I don't think they view us as a rival either. The Cali Clasico was prominently advertised on the Jumbotron. And I mean, you can't get away from that LA Galaxy logo, even coming up to the Bay Area, to Santa Clara, that region. So we can't call them the Smurfs. And I'm not going to call them the Smurfs for the time being because, well, they smurfed us up. Let's just put it that way. It's not that it wasn't pretty, but they have won the last 4 out of 6. So we kind of need to turn some things around against this team.
Yeah, not only 4 out of 6, but you mentioned it. They haven't lost at home this season. They are defending their turf very, very well. They obviously, after this game, now move to 5-0-1 on the season. And they've allowed just 3 goals in those home matches, including this match as well. And look, they came into it. You mentioned Luchi Gonzalez. He is absolutely the reason why this team is as good as they are. He is a very good, dynamic head coach who has gotten these young guys to play very, very well. Jackson Ewell, Cade Cowell, and that man again causing trouble for us, Jeremy Abobasi. More on those guys in a little bit. Philly, coming into the match, though, some consternation on the back line for LAFC. I know you're going to get into the starters and the 18 in a minute, but definitely nervous time when you see 2 of the players out are the heart and soul of your back line. We've unfortunately, Philly, gotten too used to saying Giorgio Chiellini out with a lower extremity issue. But you and I, we both caught it when they put the sleeve on Murray's leg earlier. Actually, I should say towards the end of the first half of play last time we saw him, and he came out at the half. Some consternation on the back line, to be sure.
Consternation indeed. Yeah, it's a little unnerving not seeing Giorgio Chiellini. Just his mere presence is soothing and certainly worth the cost of admission for a lot of people. We haven't really gotten to see him at all. Not even much on the LAFC videos that they film at the Performance Center or any of that. We haven't had too much Giorgio Chiellini. We need more Giorgio Chiellini sightings. Whether he's going to be playing, whether he's going to be in the 18, whether he's not. I just need to see that Italian mug, you know what I'm saying? Need to see us some Giorgio Chiellini. And obviously not having Jesus David Murillo makes sense. If he did tweak his hamstring or whatever he did in his quad, give him the time off. He's obviously going to be sitting out a match going forward against Leon. I don't know if we necessarily need him against Monterey Bay FC on Tuesday, so give him some time to heal. And let the young guys, the new signees, take over. Obviously, we still have Aaron Long, who's been a solid presence within that center back position. I think statistically, I was reading on the media notes that he gives us like an extra 10.1% chance, higher than what we already have, probability of winning when he's starting in the back line. I'm curious as to how they came up with that.
I was going to say, I don't even know what that number means, but okay.
Yeah, I don't either. So if somebody can fill us in, that would be fantastic. So that obviously gives Daniil Maldonado the ability to start. And he had a rough one, to say the least, certainly in the 80th minute of the game. But then that gives the opportunity for another young player to come up off of the ranks from LAFC, the very, very tall and most tallest player on LAFC, Noah Dollenmeyer, signed in again to be a backup. He featured in the 18. And even from row 28 of section 402, high above the clouds in Levi Stadium, he still looked like the tallest man on the pitch. So love to see a bit of him on there. And let's not forget another defender who wasn't there, Tony Leone, another young player that has filled into his body and has become a pretty big physical kid. He wasn't there either. And obviously Maxime Crepeau, but we don't need to say that day in and day out. Y'all will know firsthand from here and from us when he starts to come back. But that's the story for the back line, like you were talking about.
Yeah, look, let's you want to pop right into it. Let's get right into the matchup. Wow, we're doing pretty well, under 20 minutes, and we're already getting into the match. Don't tell anybody, but we might have gotten the hang of this thing for this one. Head coach Luchi Gonzalez, we just talked about him being an incredible coach, rolls out there 4-3-3, and they were out a couple of players. They've lost Nathan for the season. He just goes by Nathan. Lost him for the season with a torn ACL, and fullback Carlos Acapo pulled his hamstring versus Austin, so he is out for at least the next couple of weeks or so. But a lineup that we're all pretty familiar with, or at least a bunch of names that we're pretty familiar with, beginning with goalkeeper JT Marcinkowski. He is a San Jose Academy product, by the way, and a former teammate of Moose on Reno 1868 FC. On the back line, defender Miguel Trauco, defender Jonathan Mensah, defender, and this one's, I'm gonna do my best, Rodriguez, I believe is how you say it. And defender Paul Marie, who is also a former teammate of Moose on Reno 1868 FC. In the midfield, Camilo Monteiro. He had a decent game today. Carlos Grueso and the U.S. men's national team member Jackson Ewell, who, by the way, was also a teammate of Danny Musovski's on Reno 1868 FC. And on the front line, Tarzan himself. If they made a live action movie, if Disney ever does a live action Tarzan, they've gotten into The Little Mermaid now. They've obviously done Jungle Book. They've done The Lion King. You got to cast Cade Cowell as Tarzan. I'm sorry. The guy, if you had a creative player feature and you just like buffed them out and still made them play soccer, that's Cade Cowell. Dude is absolutely incredible. He will be representing the United States at the under-20 World Cup. He is a specimen, to say the least, and fast as all get out. Christian Espinoza, the reigning MLS Player of the Month, would put his stamp on this match early. And a guy who just always seems to be giving us trouble is Jeremy Ebobisse. Whether he was with Portland, now that he's with San Jose, I mean, he's just one of those guys that we all have come to know and hate as a guy who can really cause some trouble against LAFC. And that's your lineup for San Jose. Philly, for the black and gold.
Real quick, one interesting fact about Luchi Gonzalez. Not only is he coaching a pretty good side right now, but in college at Southern Methodist University as a member of the Mustangs, 2001, he was the NCAA College Player of the Year. That's a pretty cool statistic. Say what you want about playing Division I college in the United States versus coming up from an academy, but I still think that's a pretty cool stat, something that I would happily brag about if I had those accolades. So pretty cool stuff about Luchi Gonzalez. But our head coach is better. Our head coach is better. He played out in Germany. He's just better than you. Anyway, the LAFC starting lineup, no surprises in reality. John McCarthy in between the pipes. Our backline consists of Chiqui Palacios, Aaron Long, Daniil Maldonado. We knew he would get the start, and Sergi Palencia. Midfield, this was kind of interesting. Jose Cifuentes, Ilie Sanchez, and Timothy Tillman. It was fascinating that Kellen Acosta didn't get the start, but obviously Cifuentes has been doing his thing, working hard, and he had a really good game the last time around for LAFC, so he deserved to get the start. And up top, Denis Bouanga, Carlos Vela, and Senor Bogusz himself, Mateus Bogusz, getting the start up front. The bench, we've got Stipe Buke, Daniel Crisostomo, Eric Dueñas, Christian Torres, Mahala Kwadwo Opoku, Kellen Acosta, Ryan Hollingshead, Romero as our backup, and as I mentioned earlier, the 6'6" and change, depending on whether he's standing on his tippy toes or not, Noah Dollenmeyer. And that's the LFC lineup. Let's get into the actual action itself.
Yeah, and again, just real quick before we get into kickoff, I do want to mention, guys, we're rotating our lineup a little bit. We have to do it. There's a reason why Ryan Hollingshead's not starting. There's a reason why Kellen Acosta is not starting. There's a reason why guys like Mahala are coming off the bench to spell certain players. Look, everybody gets it now. Everybody. And if you don't, by the way, if you don't understand as a supporter that we're going to play 50 matches this season, we're going to play 50 matches between Leagues Cup, Open Cup, obviously Champions League. We made it as far as we possibly could in the CONCACAF version of it. Now we're going to go set to beat up on Leon and then to go play against, other teams all around the world. It's an incredible burden to be as good as we have been so far this season. We're going to play 50 games, so we're going to rest guys. We're going to have lineups that don't look quite as right. We're going to have lineups that are giving players off days on a certain parts of the schedule. So, look, for everybody that's freaking out about the lineup out there, if you don't get it, I guess you're just not going to get it. But that being said, first minute of the game, Cade Cowell says hello with a dangerous cross, played out well by the LAFC defense. Cade Cowell wasting no time, to let anybody on that left side know that he's probably faster and definitely just as physical as anyone who was going to be on that side. Tested early and often was that left side. And poor Ilie, man, I feel like there were like 5 or 6 times where I'm watching and Ilie is just trying to run after Cade Cowell as best he could, but he was like, I'm not catching that kid. No, thank you. 5th minute, Carlos Vela, a little chip from just inside the box, got way too much on it. And Philly, we said it wasn't going to take long for Christian Espinoza to put his mark on the match. You were there for it in the 8th minute. Unfortunately, a goal for San Jose.
Now, I'm not a tactician. I don't talk X's and O's, formations, anything from a statistical and a technical perspective. But I think I did say something along the lines of destroy Christian Espinoza and keep an eye on Jeremy Ebobisse. All right, that's about as rudimentary as you can get in terms of a tactic. You want to give your team the best opportunity to win? You stop the 2 leading scorers on the team. 13 goals for San Jose coming into this game. 11 out of those 13 come by way of either Christian Espinoza or Jeremy Ebobisse. And both players were involved in that play. Ebobisse connects with Montero to Espinoza, and boom, he gets his 7th goal of the season. At this point, he's tied with Denis Bouanga for the leading scorer in the Golden Boot race in MLS. And it just so happens that I think it was, his 6th straight MLS game with a goal. Single season, nobody's seen this since Chris Wondolowski in 2012, where he went 8 straight. So 2 more games of consecutive goals. Christian Espinoza, the young Argentinian from Villarreal and Boca Juniors, is going to etch his name in MLS history and, of course, San Jose history. And, I mean, this is the last guy like you really want on the ball. It just stinks, and it's very disheartening, even from way up in the rafters, to see this materialize. Ebobisse, Montero, Christian Espinoza, gosh, not good, not a great way to start this game.
And look, I think it stemmed from the fact that I don't know how many practices this particular back line has played together. Oh, sorry, it's called training. I got to remember my Ted Lasso. I don't know how many trainings this back line has had together, but I would venture to guess not many. And so what you saw, the unfortunate thing that happened, is that both Aaron Long and Chiqui Palacios went to close out on Ramiro Montero. One of them was supposed to play back and take the man, and that would be Christian Espinoza, by the way, which I don't know why anyone's leaving Christian Espinoza. But I thought Aaron Long could have taken Montero pretty easily 1v1. That would have left Chiqui Palacios to stay back on Christian Espinoza. But and still, J-Mac almost got to that. It went underneath his leg. If he would have gotten flat instead of got a little bit of air, he might have actually saved that ball, which would have been pretty incredible. But again, I think it's a lack of communication on that back line between Aaron Long and Chiqui Palacios, and a lack of training time with those 4 playing all together. Sergi Palencia, Daniel Maldonado, Aaron Long, and Chiqui Palacios. But either way, 8 minutes into the match, and the 44,000 of the 45,000 that were there to see San Jose were definitely pretty happy after that one. I'm again watching Cade Cowell up and down in the first half in this match. In the 11th minute, look, my note in the 11th minute is Cade Cowell moving really well. His box out was key for their first goal, and he was really doing a good job at finding space, getting into those little areas, shifting quickly from side to side. He causes havoc out there with the way that he moves. I want to thank the Apple TV broadcast in the 15th minute and several more times throughout the course of the broadcast for being incredibly choppy or using terrible camera angles or timing on their replays. It really started in the 15th minute, so I want to thank everybody over at Apple for that. And, Philly, I really don't have many more notes until the 22nd minute where Sifu gets fouled in a dangerous spot.
I mean, there was one play like a minute or so after Espinoza scored where he had another crack at John McCarthy, the guy who scored a goal. The leading scorer on the team. It'd be the equivalent. Nah, it's not a good comparison, but just listen to this. They passed the ball over to Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan completely wide open, has an opportunity to take a free shot uncontested. That sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? That's pretty much what happened. Christian Espinoza, the best player on this team. Nobody marking him, nobody doing his thing. He gets a look in there. Now, not saying he wasn't marked, but at the very least, Stick on him like a fly on horse dung. At the very least, do not let that man have space to even glimmer at John McCarthy. He's never asking for trouble. He's confident. He's got a great run of form. And to give him the ability to have a shot at John a minute after he already scores a goal, come on. Come on. I don't have any other notes up until that 22nd minute. If you're talking about that foul on Seafood just outside the box, we're on the same page right now.
Absolutely. You had both Carlos Vela and Denis Bouanga standing over it just outside the 18, about 25 yards away. Unfortunately, Denny put it right on target. Relatively easy save for JT Marcinkowski. I love that in the 25th minute, San Jose tried to take the restart really quickly, and the Apple TV broadcast decided to go to a replay of what happened on the play right before it. So I have no idea what happened on the offside run that Christian Espinoza had, but I heard about it because they said, oh, and while we went to replay, this happened. Really appreciate that. But in the 26th minute, that steal by Carlos Vela, but he absolutely overcooks that curling shot from the right side. I thought we might see, Philly, one of those moments of Carlos Vela magic there in the 26th. But let me tell you, what was it like in the stadium watching Aaron Long make an absolute mess of that ball while trying to hold off Cade Cowell in the 27th minute?
I mean, it was an absolute bad ball between Long and Cowell. I mean, that was danger zone. That was scary business 101. Cade Cowell is a big, physical, imposing presence at a mere 19 years of age. I mean, he goes one-on-one with Aaron Long. I don't like the way that would go. Cade Cowell's bigger, thicker than Aaron Long. Not necessarily taller, but that was a really close call. That's when one of those moments where you're biting your nails, if not your cuticles, on the play. But fortunately, nothing happened as a result of that.
Yeah, look, luckily, actually, we're actually able to get a great counter on that after we clear out the corner. It took us a little while to clear. They cycled around possession, tried to put it back into the box. But as we got it, we had a really nice counter. LAFC earning a corner, but we couldn't do anything with it. I was kind of bummed at Mateusz Bogusz for picking up a yellow. They never actually showed him getting the yellow. They didn't do a very good job of showing the foul on the broadcast. Again, a little frustrated.
We didn't see it either, Scarf.
You're at Levi's Stadium, and you guys can't figure out. This is an NFL stadium with all their different cameras and camera angles and everything else, and we can't figure out how to get a good angle on what's going on the pitch. But look, what Mateusz Bogusz did in getting a yellow card, he more than made up for on the very next minute, right after picking up his yellow card. Mateusz Bogusz stayed with the play, and I absolutely love the fact that he was able to turn on one, and he kind of got a lot on that ball, right, Philly? And then as JT Marcinkowski dives, maybe it was a soft spill. I bet if you ask him, he's like, yeah, I absolutely should have controlled that ball. But who is there to pounce but none other than our great one, number 99, Denis Bouanga, tying Jordan Morris for the Golden Boot lead on 8 goals, slotting it past from a pretty tough angle. I don't know that many other players, definitely not Ramiro Montero, but I don't know that many other players would be able to put that ball not just on frame, but underneath the keeper for a goal. All Denny does is score.
I mean, Bogusz certainly peppered that steak because he had a really good shot. And while Marcinkowski could have held on to it, there was a lot of pepper behind that by Bogusz. And Denny being in the right place at the right time, having the football IQ that he does, more importantly, knowing where to be at the most important and crucial moments of time, he takes care of business. And just like that, everybody is jovial in the 400s at Levi Stadium. It was a beautiful thing to bear witness to. Denis Bouanga getting on the boards. And we're tied, baby. San Jose's got 99 problems, and Denis is one.
Yeah, he's just starting to find this run of form that makes it look like we're not going to have Denis Bouanga for very long. I don't love it, but I love it all at the same time. If anybody, he's on every week highlight reel. Everybody in Europe has got to be looking at Denis Bouanga right now. We'll see what happens in that July transfer window. It's going to take a lot to pry Denis Bouanga away from the black and gold. It's also going to take a lot for Ramiro Montero to relive that ball in the 33rd minute. Look, my note was very simple. In the 33rd minute, Ramiro Montero commits a Christian Ramirez. That's right. Right out in front of the goal. He found a way, at least with Christian Ramirez. He only put his directly over the crossbar from dead center point blank range. What Ramiro Montero was able to do, and they showed it on the replay, not only did he put it over the bar from less than 3 or 4 yards out, but he actually put it over and wide. It wasn't even on frame. An absolutely beautiful pass through the middle of the box. And somehow a ball that even Philly and I would have likely been able to put away, he misses it from point blank. It should have absolutely, Philly, been 2-1 San Jose. After we had just scored, all those good times in the building would have been gone.
I can tell you for a fact that it wasn't the wind. Montero's shot on goal was similar to me golfing. Sliced the absolute bejesus out of that ball. You look at a play like that and you go, wow, how did physics come into play there? The probability of him missing, not just missing as bad and as widely he did. You can't make stuff up like that. It really was like playing golf with me. Slice the hell out of an easy shot all the way back here to where I am. East Jesus nowhere on the corner of Timbuktu and Where the Hell Am I Avenue. It's just, I can't believe he had a shot like that. We're lucky that as a designated player, he made a play that was crazy. Designated player for Montero on that. DP doesn't stand for that. It stands for dopey play.
Yeah, it was, again, they kept showing the replay too on the Apple TV broadcast. It's one of the few things they got right that they showed. And it's just unbelievable that he overcooked that one. 36-minute Denis Bouanga, a little one-touch, spinning and firing on goal. A good shot, but a better save by JT. And then, look, Cade Cowell again, streaking down that left side, giving LAFC problems in the 39th minute, and then Sifu turning the ball over.
Well, that's where Long comes in, brother.
Yeah, no, look, Aaron Long had a very, very solid game. He has played extremely well since getting regular minutes. Look, I'm going to head to the 44th minute if you don't have anything in front of that, Philly. What do you think?
Keep going. Vita.
Sounds good. After JT Marcinkowski absolutely went on walkabout after spilling another ball, I don't know how first Denis Bouanga and then Jose Cifuentes don't at least get a shot out, chip it over the bar, do something. What did we do? But nothing. While the keeper was out, Denis found the ball, but his shot was well high, and we're on to stoppage time at 1-1.
Yeah, we had a play where Bogusz had a corner, it was headed out, touched by San Jose. Then we had another corner, the sequel of the previous one, but nothing comes about. A little bit of contact right around the box, nothing happens. The referee blows his whistle. It's halftime. And if we look at the statistics, it's not as if LAFC was stuck in the mud by any means. They had 10 shots to San Jose's 6. On target, LAFC had 5 to San Jose's 2. Possession, LAFC 58-42. LAFC's controlling this game. We fell down, but what a championship-bound club is destined to do, excuse me, it's the air up here. I don't trust air I can't see. I apologize for the coughing. They fought back, and they fought well. And based on these statistics, based on the control they had, based on the fact that they were connecting fairly well, you'd think coming out of the locker room that LAFC would be the better team. They certainly played a lot better after they tied the game. They took a quick hit to the head, fell on the knee a little bit, but stood right up and punched right back and headed into the locker room with their heads held up high because they really did come through and play a much better second half of the first 45 minutes.
Allow me to get on a soapbox for just a second. Yes, you're correct. We absolutely outplayed them for the entire first half. Philly, what you did not have was the benefit of the Apple TV replay on that, as you called it, a little bit of contact. By the way. It was terrible. I'll get into that in a minute. Okay. But the contact on Danilo Maldonado was so egregious with an elbow from Jonathan Mensah, and how VAR, when the whole point of VAR is to look out for the safety of the player. Look, If it would have been LAFC who did this contact to anybody in the box of San Jose, I would be saying we absolutely got away with one that should have been called for a penalty. There is no doubt in my mind that they somehow missed taking a look at this ball. It wasn't the initial contact, which I believe it was from Cade Cowell up front. It was the contact from behind by Jonathan Mensah as Daniil Maldonado got absolutely cleaned out on that corner kick. And I am shocked and appalled. It is going to be on, I forget what the segment is that MLS Extra Time or whoever does, where they look at some controversial calls and plays throughout the week. It was absolutely ridiculous that that play was not called for a foul in the box on a set piece. It should have absolutely been a PK. The referee, it was just too big for him in the moment. It was ridiculous.
All right, so I have to ask you, because we didn't have the privilege of the replay. I took the notes, and we had a car ride back, so I caught as much of the replay as I could. Now, the play that you're talking about, that was the contact in the box in injury time towards the conclusion of the first half?
It was off that second corner kick because we got
absolutely
two, right?
Missed that being there. I had no clue that even happened.
And look, to Daniil Maldonado's credit, I guess he got back up relatively quickly, and I don't know if he didn't know to complain about it. I don't know that it was shown. They kept showing the replay, which is the only reason why I know how egregious it was. It was contact was up. There was an elbow out. I mean, I'm blown away that they didn't review this. Look, and to me, hindsight being 2020, we lose this game 2-1. We get a penalty there. It changes the whole complex of the game. I just really frustrated at the, as you like to call them, pretty rancid officiating, the pro referees. It was just one of those plays, Philly, where if you have a chance to go back and find it after, it was so frustrating. But you know what? You're absolutely right. Let's focus on the positive. Like you said, what happened to us was that we got hit in the mouth. We bounced right back, found a goal, 20 minutes later or so. And really, spoiler alert for the second half as well, dominated the run of play for large swaths of this game, especially there in the first half. Once we settled, once we got into it after those first 15 minutes or so, you're absolutely right. We outplayed him, and it was the stars coming to play in the first half. Christian Espinoza for them, Denis Bouanga for us.
The two players to watch, the two prize fighters on both sides going out there and battling each other. And that's what you want to see. That's what this league wants to see. Great players competing against great players and succeeding. And that's what Denis and Christian Espinoza did. Obviously, you got to give credit to Mateus Bogusz for making the play for Denis to score the goal. And obviously, you got to tip your hats off to Abobasi and Montero for enabling Espinoza to score on the other end. Starting into the second half, 52nd minute, you got a pass into the box by Denis, but it's broken up. Palencia gets himself a shot in the 53rd. Nothing really transpires there. 57th minute, Scarf, if you have anything beforehand that you want to mention, let me know now. Otherwise, I can get into the 57 minutes, something I saw that I didn't particularly like, but I'll kick back and divert to you. Like, do you have anything between the 45th and the 57th minute?
Yeah, look, I thought that the only couple of notes that I have, San Jose started out with a really good, effective high press, which was good. Paul Marie was causing all kinds of problems. And I did make a note in the 54th minute about Sifu with yet another giveaway. He had like 2 or 3 in the first half, and this one here in the second. I said, at what point do we see Kellen Acosta here? So really though, go right ahead, my friend, and let me know where you're at.
So what I saw in the 57th minute, Cifuentes had a pass into Vela. And the interesting thing is Vela had it. And from my vantage point, I don't know whether or not Carlos saw it, but from way the hell up where we were, basically like touching the feet of Jesus, that's how high I was in the 28th row, Vela hesitated. Vela had an absolute open look. I stand firm. I wish I had a photo of it. He hesitated. And there's something about that struck a chord. 2019 Carlos Vela wouldn't have thought twice upon receiving that pass in from Jose Cifuentes. He would have turned around and absolutely smashed the stitches out of the ball. For reasons unbeknownst to me, whether it be a confidence thing, whether it be a fitness thing, whether it be an I don't know what the heck he's looking at, what he's thinking about thing. Carlos Vela should have absolutely turned around and let that sucker go. And as a result of his hesitation, we have a break in play. We have a breakup of a decent run and buildup to a clear shot on goal. From the naked eye, even if you were pitch level, maybe you would have missed that. But we were so high. Carlos Vela, without a doubt, was wide open. Why he hesitated is beyond me. And as a result of his hesitation, there was a turnover and San Jose got the ball back.
Yeah, I my note too says, not sure how Carlos doesn't do more with that ball from Jose Cifuentes. And by the way, in parentheses, I did. Oh, a good thing from Sifu. Yay. But Carlos Grueso shutting down Carlos Vela, very surprised. I'm totally with you on that one. Really enjoyed Daniel Maldonado's 1v1 play on Cade Cowell just a minute later or so. And then again, in the 59th minute, Philly, Carlos Vela seeming unsure of what to do with the ball at the top of the box again. I was the one that tweeted it out. If you guys follow us at Defend the Bank on Twitter, I said I had two opinions, two hot takes or two takes after the game. One, I didn't think I would get any grief from, and I said we need a lot more from Jose Cifuentes than we got today. And my second one, I was like, but this is the take that I'll get a lot of grief for, probably, that we needed more from Carlos Vela today. I felt like for it to be Carlos Vela looking unsure of what to do with the ball in some of those moments, I was absolutely shocked at that point that we couldn't get more in for Carlos Vela, especially with that ball at the top of the box.
You know who wasn't scared to take a shot about a minute or so afterwards? Jeremy Ebobisse.
Yep.
He ain't scared to shoot. He took a shot. Fortunately, it was off frame. Goal kick for LAFC, but that's what you want to see. You want to see these guys taking shots from out the box. They do so in practice all the darn time. They have contests in which they challenge each other to hit the crossbar. We know the crossbar challenge. It's part of a skills competition. Why they wouldn't take more shots from outside the box is beyond me. Look at what happened. And this wasn't outside of the box, of course, but look at what happened when Bogusz took a shot. It ricocheted off Marcinkowski, and Denny Bouanga was there. As Wayne Gretzky said, as we've said on this podcast countless times over the course of 240 whatever episodes, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Take them. Take them while you got them. Don't look, and maybe it's an LAFC system thing. We saw it under Bob. We obviously see it under Steve as well. You want to make the pass to get that open look, but there's still plenty of times in which some of these guys don't take that shot when you know they can. Make an attempt. Something can happen. A rebound, a ricochet, a weird fall, a weird whatever. Just take a shot. You're creating something. I hate it when they keep looking for the second pass or the third pass. The tiki-taka stuff gets frustrating after a while. You get it? You turn around, you're open, fire that mother effer in there. The worst thing that could happen is it gets blocked, deflected. Oh, well. Then you get another attempt and another crack at it. Jeremy Ebobisse wasn't afraid to do it. Carlos Vela, for reasons unbeknownst to me, hesitated a couple of times, and I don't understand why. I really don't.
Yeah, it was frustrating. When we subbed on Mahala in the 63rd minute for Mateusz Bogusz, I almost wanted that sub to be for Carlos Vela instead of Mateusz Bogusz. But I get it, right? You wanted to try and ride Carlos for a little bit longer, see what you could get from him. Look, I'll say this. From about that sub for Mahala until about the 71st minute, that was some of the most boring football that I've seen from both sides. I felt like they had taken the air out of the ball. Both sides were like reeling from the last, 4 or 5 rounds of a slugfest. And they decided to kind of have those 1 or 2 rounds where you're just kind of jabbing and feel each other out for a couple of rounds. There was not a lot going on for about 6 or 7 minutes. And then shockingly, after looking incredible for the entire match, in the 71st minute, San Jose decides to take off Cade Cowell for Benji Kikanovic. I was shocked that they took Cade Cowell off the pitch.
I mean, you have this, I got one for you. He was on the game card for today, Cade Cowell, and I know you're a big fan of his, and I completely understand why. It's not for fitness reasons. He didn't play hurt. I was kind of bummed to see Cade Cowell come off because he's part of the reason anybody would want to see San Jose anyway. Even if you're in town and you're a neutral and you want to see an Earthquakes game, he's one of the guys that you pay the money to see. So it was quite surprising that he did come out. But 3 minutes later, we had some subs of our very own. Ilie Sanchez coming out, Kellen Acosta coming in, and then Carlos Vela coming out. You said it earlier. You wanted him to come out. And then in comes Stipe Buke, a guy who I don't want to say is starting to unfairly get comparisons of your Brian Rodriguez's of the past. Ooh. All right. So I don't know what happened. I disappeared for a split second. I don't know. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, you're all good. It got a little choppy there for me. It's because they knew you were bringing up Brian Rodriguez. That's what happened. That's
that, and the fact that I'm in the cabin in the woods. I haven't seen Kathy Bates yet, so that's okay. So nothing of that nature. But I think a lot of people are looking at Stipe Buke as like the next signing for LAFC. Needless to say, he's not a designated player, so he doesn't have that. He does come highly regarded, but let's go a little easy on him for the time being. Not because he's of age, but let's just go easy on him a little bit. When Stipe, and I'll admit, when he comes into the game, I'm not thinking, all right, things are going to change. But I do think that when Mahala comes into the game, there's something about a kid. Tell me where you've heard this before. There's something exciting about a young man subbing in the 70th minute who happens to be from Accra, Ghana, coming into the game for LAFC. Typically, things have happened quite well for LAFC in the past. And for those of you who have still have no clue as to what I'm talking about, the star man from Accra, Ghana, he came in, he took care of business, things happened. And then you got number 22, Kwadwo Mahala Opoku coming in, and Mahala certainly makes things happen. He absolutely did in LAFC's last encounter. I love me some Mahala.
See, I love it. Philly tries to be subtle, and then at the end, he just wants to make sure that you absolutely understand what he's saying. So he'll go back over the top with the reference. You're absolutely right, though. Look, I'll say this:
subtle as a branded steroid-infused bull in a china shop.
What I didn't like, about that substitution time right there, 74th minute, right before, Carlos knew he was coming off. Right, Carlos knew he was coming off. There was a pass that, look, it was nowhere near him. It was a bad pass, turnover, out of bounds. And Carlos Vela looked over and he got so pissed. He got so frustrated. It reminded me of what we saw from like Ja Morant as the Grizzlies were being blown out in that last match against the Lakers, where Ja all of a sudden started to become a little petulant, started to become a little angry and frustrated at everybody around him for not making all the right plays. I think this is one of those matches that Carlos Vela is going to look back on and realize that Carlos Vela took Carlos Vela out of this match. Nothing that San Jose did really took Carlos Vela out of this match. Carlos Vela took himself out of this match. But you are absolutely right, Philly, with Mahala Opoku doing his best Carlos Vela impression in the 76th minute, turning and firing with that left foot. JT Marcinkowski was caught leaning in one direction. Philly, I very rarely advertise my hops on this show. I could have jumped as high as JT Marcinkowski did in order to flick that ball up and over the crossbar. He got caught in between steps. All he could do was parry that ball over the crossbar. And talk about something from nothing. There goes your guy again, Mahala Opoku, changing things almost in a flash for LAFC.
Took him 120 seconds. He took a shot. He had the courage, the intestinal fortitude to do so. Beautiful thing. We line up for a corner. It's Kellen Acosta taking it. Broken up by San Jose. Then we have an injury on the field. And at that point, you're thinking, all right, San Jose's taking their time. Maybe they are going to be content with a tie. It's Marie down on the pitch. He gets back up and play resumes. You'd think the longer that San Jose would allow this game to drag out, the more of an opportunity that LAFC would have to kick the door in and walk out of Santa Clara with 3 points. 80th minute, we have Tillman into Mahala. Another shot into JT's hands. Yeah, JT Marcinkowski. I got thrown off for a second. I'm thinking, Torrington? No, not at all. He wasn't playing. Duh. But a couple of minutes in, and Mahala's already doing things. And then 81st minute, you got a foul outside of the box. And then I'm looking at my notes right now, Scarvin. I have no clue what the hell I'm saying in this next one. I know Espinoza was on the face. You know what? Dude, you take over from here. My notes, IG chance for I don't know what the hell I wrote here. Go on.
In the 81st minute, a bit of a frustrating moment as Daniil Maldonado getting a piece of Jeremy Ebobisse.
That was 81st minute?
That was the
okay. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I got it.
So that you're the house that has eyes that just kind of messed with your internet once again. But yes, in the 81st minute, Daniil Maldonado, and I thought this was so unnecessary because all he has to do is run with him and not try to make a play on that ball because the ball is angling away from goal. You've got John McCarthy there. All Daniil Maldonado needs to do is to run with Jeremy Ebobisse in that moment. But instead, he tries to get to the ball first. He winds up getting absolutely zero ball. He only gets Jeremy Ebobisse. It is a very frustrating penalty because that, in that moment, was what Jeremy Ebobisse was trying for. He wasn't trying to put the ball back on frame. He was just running to the ball as fast as he could so that he could get the first touch so that in case Daniil Maldonado came across his body, which he did, you get the PK. And I'm sorry. Now, all you've done is from nothing, Philly, it had been 20 minutes since San Jose had done anything close to goal. And of course, it has to be in the 83rd minute, so we have to call it a scarf goal for Christian Espinoza, standing over the ball, John McCarthy diving the wrong way, late lead, 2-1, San Jose, and now all of a sudden, Jordan Morris and Denis Bouanga have company at the top of the Golden Boot race. I
have to apologize if I came off as distracting for those watching on YouTube. The minute you said this house has eyes, I'm not going to lie. Humming occurred. Humming everywhere. It's the kind of humming you would hear when you have a slightly disconnected little quarter-inch like jack coming out of your speaker, like a and I'm scratching my head thinking, what's going on? Is it the laptop? Is it the speaker? What am I connected to? Like, it was kind of creepy. I took my headphones off so I can hear. This house not only has eyes, it was humming like a hummingbird. Really creepy, and it took me off. Look, Jeremy Ebobisse is the one that drew the foul on Daniil Maldonado. Jeremy Ebobisse, smart player, very smart player, and there was no question on that call. You wanted to go to the VAR. I even watched that on the replay. It was a foul without a doubt. And of course, Christian Espinoza hits it just to the side of Main Street for his second goal of the night. 2-1, and now LAFC staring at their first regular season loss in Major League Soccer. But you know what? We've been here before. We might be down right now, but LAFC's found themselves in similar circumstances. They could come back and win, right?
I mean, they can, sure. Spoiler alert, they didn't this time. In the 85th minute, I still think Daniil Maldonado is going to see Jeremy Ebobisse in his sleep. It's a foul by Daniil on Ebobisse, and that's a yellow card for Daniil Maldonado here in the 85th. In the 86th, Judson comes on for Jackson Ewell.
Your favorite player, Judson.
I'm not a big fan of Judson. They start parking the bus, though, does San Jose. So they bring on Ryan Hollingshead for Cheeky Palacios to give Cheeky a little bit of rest. Look, stoppage time, 4 minutes. 4 minutes of stoppage time. The only real things that happened in stoppage time were that San Jose subbed on Tanner Beeson and Buddha for, not like that Buddha, but, you know, a kid named Buddha, for Ramiro Montero and Jeremy Ebobisse. But Philly, we almost had a chance in the final corner of the match. Denis Bouanga found Timothy Tillman, and just over the bar, we had a chance, Philly.
We had a chance, but alas, nothing prevailed within injury time. The referee blows his whistle. The shot at us beating the San Jose Earthquakes on the road dies, along with our undefeated streak within Major League Soccer. And if we look at the statistics, It's not because we failed to show up. We were very much in this game. We very much controlled this game. You take 17 shots. You are controlling this game when your opponent only takes 9. When you have 7 on target to your opponent's 3, you are very much controlling this game. When you have 40% possession, you are very much controlling this game. The difference, JT Marcinkowski gets 6 saves, and we don't convert. You take 7 shots on target with only 1 conversion. Mathematically, that's not very good. And it's not going to go your way if you can't convert your opportunities. 17 shots, 7 on target, 1 goal. With dominating possession, it didn't go our way. Didn't go our way at all. I'll reference a couple of things that Steve said during the press conference momentarily, but it was a game that we should have won. We've come out of games in which, we should have lost. We fortunately ended with a tie. We fortunately ended up with a win, but the roles reversed themselves because a game we should have absolutely won, statistically speaking, and on paper, we ended up losing. The soccer gods were not in our favor today. I don't know if we have to if we have to sacrifice an Adidas ball before our next encounter, but the soccer gods certainly weren't pleased with LAFC today.
Listen, what I will say, yes, LAFC dominated the run of play for large portions of this match. But that being said, it was a far more clinical performance by San Jose with the chances that they created. They did not create a whole ton of chances. They did not do a whole lot to inspire any creativity in their offense. Over the course of the entire match, I want to say they created something like 3 or 4 what FOTMob calls big chances, right? Over the course of the entire match. And yet they even underperformed their expected goals, which was 2.27. I think it mainly has to do with that Ramiro Montero ball that he found a way to sky over the crossbar and out. The few times that LAFC gave up chances to San Jose, they did exactly what they had to do. So, that being said, San Jose just capitalized on the opportunities. You mentioned it, 17 shots, 6 on target. We can only get 1 past. We're going to have games like that. This was a far less of a frustrating loss because of how well we played, but it is starting to become a narrative how much difficulty we are having with San Jose in or around San Jose.
Yeah, I mean, considering the success that we had against them to start our club's history, San Jose has certainly closed the gap. And again, I think they're contenders so far this year. A lot of the pundits thought Austin would be a much better team this year. In the pantheon of the successful clubs within the Western Conference, you got to say that San Jose is a team to reckon with, a team to watch out for. Luchi Gonzalez doing a great job, a much better job than, surprisingly enough, Matias Almeida. He's got his guys believing in his system, and they're playing very well. Now, they do need other players to step up and score. At this point, they've got 15 goals on the year. And what do we say? 8 of them are coming from Christian Espinoza. 5 of them are coming from Jeremy Abobasi. That leaves Jackson Ewell and 1 other. If they're going to be successful in the long haul, they need players to capitalize and other players to do things. But that's neither here nor there. Their guys showed up and they beat us. And it stinks. We knew a loss was coming at some point. It's inevitable. What team since 1996 has got an entire Major League Soccer campaign without a loss? It doesn't happen. A loss is only a loss if you don't learn from it. I think it's a very important and valuable loss that we take in. Looking back at last season, for example, we got absolutely smacked by Austin. What happened after we got smacked by Austin? We went on a nice run. We won the Supporter Shield, and we won the MLS Cup. This might be our first regular season loss in Major League Soccer since October the 9th, but I think it comes at a very good time. It comes right before we play our first match in the U.S. Open Cup. It comes right before we play our Champions League final against Leon. I will take this L 10 out of 10 times if it means that we're going to advance in the Open Cup and we're going to win the League. For San Jose, this was their MLS Cup victory. Sorry about that. Again, that cabin in the woods, the house on the hill. I don't know. The frogs are talking. They're even louder than they were before. I don't know what's going on. Maybe they're chewing on the cords here. For them, as I was saying, it's their MLS Cup. For us, it's a mere speed bump. Consider it a zit getting popped in a beauty pageant. It is what it is. We'll accept the loss. We'll commiserate it. We'll think about it for a little while longer. 28 minutes to be exact, because at the time of this recording, it's 11:32. And then we move on to bigger and better things. We're going to Monterrey. Not Mexico, though. We're going to Monterrey, Cal State University, Monterrey, the home of the Otters, to meet another individual who coached San Jose to 2 MLS Cup victories. The irony of how we're playing San Jose and then competing against Monterey Bay FC, which for the most part consists of a front office that was part of the successful rendition of the Earthquakes history. Fascinating turn of events.
Yeah, look, more on that in just a second. Let's take a look where LAFC is in the table. We are still third in the West. Seattle with 20 points. St. Louis still doing their thing with 19, but we have a game in hand on each of them. And in the race for the Supporters Shield, in addition to being behind Seattle and St. Louis, both New England and Cincinnati have 24 points, but we also have 2 games in hand on each of them. So 5th in the race for the Shield. And you mentioned it, Philly. No time to lick our wounds, because in just 3 days, May 9th, Tuesday, we are headed up to Cal State University, Monterey Bay, to the former site of Fort Ord. That would be Cardinal Stadium in Seaside, California, to take on Monterey Bay FC. Former LAFC inaugural team member James Murphy, who didn't want to come on to Defenders of the Bank, is all set to play.
Aaron Kovar did, James. I'll never let you forget this. I'll never let you live this down. We might have made you relevant, James. Damn you. Sorry, Scarf.
That's okay. Philly is very frustrated at James Murphy. Nothing but love for you, James. You're always black and gold, but if you score against us tomorrow, against us on Tuesday, we hate you. But that being said, we get to kick off the Open Cup. It's one of my favorite things in all of sports. It's a really fun tournament. We've talked about it. But what we want to make sure you guys are checking out is episode 246, which is the episode right before this, which talks all about Monterey Bay FC. So make sure you check out that episode. You will learn all things Cal State, Monterey Bay FC. Some Fresno Fox talk happens in there. We got all kinds of fun talking about that club and learning about Monterey Bay FC. Philly, 2 other quick things, and then I think we're out of here. Did you happen to see Tyler Miller give up an Olympico goal today to Lucho Acosta?
I did not. I caught your text message earlier, and I know there's people that we know and love within LAFC that are shaking their heads going, see, I told you so.
How about, actually, I lied. 3 things. Second thing, 100th goal in his Major League Soccer career. He actually got 99 and 100 today. Inter Miami's Joseph Martinez. And of course, who does he do it against? Atlanta United. I mean, come on. He hasn't scored all season and he finds a brace. But my favorite moment of the weekend, and sure, call it Schadenfreude if you want, but there was something beautiful about watching Kevin Cabral score against Carson. Sometimes it writes itself.
Slapstick comedy is some of the best comedy that one can watch. And what's going down in Carson is up there with like Benny Hill type stuff. It's great. ACB in the stands for the first time, imposing a don't buy food, don't buy alcohol, don't yell campaign. What a flipping joke. Only to see a loss 3-1. And the best part about Kevin Cabral scoring the second goal of the game is the Galaxy are still paying him. That's the best part to me. The Galaxy are still paying Kevin Cabral. Yes.
And my favorite part is because Galaxy got a late goal in the 89th minute, it's the game winner. Kevin Cabral with the game winner. It's so good.
No,
it writes itself.
It's fantastic. Now, the soccer gods weren't great with us, but from a macro perspective, they certainly gave us something to laugh at. If you're feeling bad about what happened versus the Earthquakes, take a look at what's happening to the Galaxy. That'll make you feel so much better. It is the MLS spectator viewership equivalent of watching Jerry Springer. Rest in peace to the former mayor of Cincinnati. The Galaxy has turned into a Jerry Springer saga. It really has. Any luck that the supporters groups would unite and do something huge? Gone to hell. Nobody's ever going to respect ACB anymore. No one's going to ever connect them, the Riot Squad, the One Galaxian. None of that's going to happen anymore. And the fact that they lose 3-1 with a player that they're still playing getting the game-winning goal. Again, I don't feel so bad about life. I was feeling a little blue because, look, I love LAFC. I wear my heart on my shoulder. I hate it when my team loses. But when they do, and our bitter rivals get humiliated in the way they do, I'll just sit here and enjoy my Kinder Egg.
Congratulations on getting a Kinder Egg. Last thing from OptaJack, LA Galaxy's 6 points after 10 matches are the fewest at this stage of the season in club history. And with that, we look forward to Monterey Bay. I keep wanting to call them FC Monterey Bay, but no, they're Monterey Bay FC in just 3 days. Cardinal Stadium. I'm going to make one bold prediction about it before we get into our one more sleep and everything else, Philly. I am making the prediction that we will see the black and gold debut of Noah Dollenmeyer.
You bring up a really good point. We did an entire show dedicated to getting to know Monterey Bay FC. Are we really doing a one more sleep?
Oh, yeah. We're doing a one more sleep. And we're going to tell everybody to make sure they check out episode 246. Look, I don't know how we're going to do a one more sleep. I'm going to be in Boston. I don't even know
how we're going to do podcasts for the next 3 episodes, by the way.
I don't know what we're going to do. It's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know, man.
I may have to bring in the girls. You remember last time what happened when you went MIA? The girls, when they debuted during that time that you were on that class trip to Peru, very early on in the history of this podcast, that was the most downloaded episode in the history of Defenders of the Bank until months later. We might have to just do that.
You're trying to push me out in front of everybody, huh?
I'll never push you out. It would be kind of funny, though, if for one pod, you and I were not on it, and it was the girls who were the Philly and the Scarf equivalent, them doing all the antics. That's actually not a bad idea. Maybe we could run that thought by them, and maybe they could do a proxy jump in, and I could just chill for a night. Because I don't like doing this pod without you. You've done an episode without me. The reason why I think people enjoy this show, and if anybody out there can humor me on this, is because of the banter and the chemistry between you and I. We're not two guys that just got paired together like a boy band. We're two guys who became really good friends, who enjoy each other's company, who have an awful lot of fun, who root for the same crappy New York baseball team. We get together and we pod. And I think that's really what the beauty of this podcast is. Me and you doing it together, because it would not be the same if it was me and someone else or you and someone else. You're never going to be replaced. That's just clown shoes.
I wasn't too worried about it, but I appreciate you letting me know. Look, we're starting to get a little over time, Philly. It's the walls are going to start to talk to you even more than they already are, my friend. I've got to be at the airport in about 5.5 hours. You've got to have a 3-hour drive ahead of you in not too long of a time. So why don't we end it the way we do all of our episodes? You guys, please check back in. We have no idea what's going to happen for episode 248, but it's going to be coming in just a few days because we take on Monterey Bay FC, and you know how we like to end all of our episodes. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.